Hi, Jim Romer from bestweatherinc.com, the only all-commodity weather newsletter in the world that focuses on forecasting weather for 8 countries and markets for farmers and commodity traders. At bestweatherinc.com, we have 2 investment newsletters. In the meantime, tornadoes ravaging the southern U.S. over the last week or so. Absolute devastation. A new typhoon, I think the 5th one of the season, record low pressure for the month of December, hitting the Philippines, once again, causing devastation. Look at this aerial photography from this past weekend in the southern Philippines. Absolutely devastating. What a year it's been. From droughts out west, you can see this drought continuing out much of the western part of the country, though the Pacific Northwest and much of British Columbia are going to get nailed with lots more snow, mudslides, and flooding. It's the southern plains there in red and orange, a major wheat growing area with La Nina. And with climate change, we're looking at some certain analogs here for clients that may excite the wheat market, particularly next spring and summer, if that drought continues. COVID worries once again. Multiple shutdowns around the world causing a collapse in many commodities that have seen huge gains over the last 6 to 9 months. One of them has been sugar. Sugar soared, excuse my head here on the screen. Sugar soared on the left there during the summer on frost in Brazil and the drought. We're relatively bullish and told people to take profits back in the late summer, early fall. Look how sugar has broken down through support, in part because of the weaker Brazil real, COVID demand concerns, but also a very big crop in Thailand and also India, offsetting the bearish or the bullish Brazilian weather from this last summer. We are getting rains, though, in Brazil as well, and one reason that I'm not necessarily bullish sugar at all longer term. One market we also caught most of the move up on was in coffee earlier this year. Many analysts have been bullish the last 8 weeks. We've been relatively cautious with our concern about too big of a long position in the market, and drought easing rains in northern Brazil. Yes, we have tight supplies of coffee, but we're down below support levels right now. Could the coffee market come back? We're watching Vietnam weather. Colombia needs to dry out. Otherwise, harvest issues could occur for their crop. Will it get dry in Brazil again in northern areas in the next 2 months? Our weather wealth clients will be updated twice a week with that. Right now, I don't see really any major concern, new concern for the Brazilian coffee crop. Yes, stocks are tight, but notice this wet weather in blue and green over the next few weeks. That's going to mean some longer term good implications for the coffee crop, particularly in 2023. Look at the growing dryness in Argentina in red and also Brazil. More hot, dry weather. Not really a critical factor just yet for corn and beans, but it could be here as we go into January and February. Soybean market beginning to break out right now. Technically, as you see to the left there during the summer, we were relatively bearish soybeans, even with a drought in parts of Iowa and South Dakota. It was oats and spring wheat last summer that our clients caught a major move up. But in the last couple of weeks, we bottomed on post-harvest pressure ending here in the United States and a potential drought developing in Argentina and southern and central Brazil. Stay tuned. Weather's going to be critical for the grain market here in the weeks to come. How about natural gas? I've been relatively bearish the last couple of weeks. I did not expect prices to go below $4.50. Indeed, they did in an oversold situation. But we are beginning to see the Arctic Oscillation Index, which means a polar vortex shifting a little bit further south in January. Notice, however, that red block you see that will push some of the cold weather and snows into the deep western part of the country and maybe the Midwest into early January. Notice how it's not nearly as cold, nearly as ferocious as, let's say, back during this major spike in natural gas in early 2014. Look at the polar vortex. Look at the upper left, 493, which represents how cold the air is aloft. Came down in early January of 2014, 504. The lower the number, the colder the air. And we had a price spike to $8 or $9 back in January of 2014. But climate change, the warming Arctic, other factors. Look at this, how that vortex only about 516 to 524, which means not nearly as cold as some of our previous major bull markets in the winter in natural gas, like in 2014, in 2010, 2011. The vortex was really, really cold. I don't see that right now. So how do you trade this market? option strangles, catching volatility in February calls and puts is a way I've recommended to my clients around the world to take advantage in these markets. Anyway, have a very happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And a lot of volatility expected in these markets with COVID, but with La Nina and some changing ocean currents, there are going to be some great opportunities here in the weeks and months ahead, particularly possibly in the grain market. Thank you.